Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk and welcome back to something we haven't done in a while. It is Shep Talk Book Review. I am going to try to start doing these more and more often so that way I get to actually read some more. And before we get into that, like we always do, if you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly and I do truly appreciate it. And if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, where I'm going, and what I'm seeing, follow me on my social media links and all of them are down below. Please follow. But let's get into my book review, the first one of 2023, and that is My Journey to Endor by Tracy Thompson, the wife of Kevin Thompson. But like I said, My Journey to Endor was written by Tracy McCoy Thompson. In quick synopsis, this is the story of Kevin Thompson, who grew up as a Star Wars fan and becoming one of the most profiled Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. This book is really meant to give the Star Wars fan that sneak peek, that peek behind the curtain of what it took to bring to life the planet moon of Endor and how one special Ewok made the journey there. And that Ewok, as I said before, is Kevin Thompson and his journey to that moon, written by his wife, Tracy. So the opening of this book, really, Kevin gives us a kind of general overview of what his family life was like, all the way up to him going to college and him finding theater, and even getting into his acting career. But the book really hits its stride when Kevin goes in for an audition for a movie that he really doesn't know but kind of thinks might be for the Star Wars movie, and then his journey throughout going to Endor and becoming a stunt Ewok. And I'm going to give major praises to Tracy Thompson right here. This book is such an easy read. Sometimes authors, I don't know, kind of seem to make it difficult to read, or where you got to go back and read a sentence or a paragraph once or twice to make sure you grasp what they're trying to say. But this book, if you're a non-reader, I think you can still pick up this book and have a good time with it and be able to dive into it. And as a reader, this book is something that's, I say easy, and I don't want to make it sound like it's insult, but it is so well written that you will just breeze through this book because you will just keep turning page after page after page because it is that well written, in my opinion. One of the things I compare this to is the way the writing style is, or maybe the way Kevin dictated this to his wife, or or how his wife translated this book. Is imagine if Kevin was like sitting right here, or sitting at a bar, and you guys are having a drink, and you ask Kevin a question, and he's like, "Oh yeah, on Endor we did this, and it's just so kind of flowing back and forth, right? Like he's like, "Oh, this happened," and it streams into this. It is just so easy. It's like you're having a conversation with someone. The beginning of this book really tells the story of how Kevin grew up, and how adventurous, and how him and his family and his siblings really played with each other, did stunts in the backyard, jumped off roofs into pools, and then how Kevin went from high school to finding out about his love for theater and taking his love for theater and making it into acting, and also becoming a stunt person in his own right. And those are all touching moments as well. But I kind of would love to see more of that, like what really drove Kevin to pursue theater, pursue acting, pursue stunt work. This book really is the focus of Kevin and his Ewok crew living on set for pretty much weeks on end. And it wasn't the glamorous lifestyle. They didn't stay at 5-star resorts. There wasn't the big catering things and stuff like that. They were at a motel. They had little restaurants. They were driven to the forest and then just worked long hours to provide us the entertainment and the scenes that we see in Return of the Jedi. It was grueling work. It was fun work at sometimes, but it was definitely hard work as well. Tracy's words here, or how she writes, just brings Kevin's words or Kevin's memories to life. That you could read these book and the forest moon of Endor pops into your mind. Like, I know I've seen the movie plenty of times, so that probably also helped. But I was just picturing scenes when he's talking about Ewoks fighting the ATST, or Ewoks jumping on the backs of stormtroopers. I could see those scenes in my mind. Again, huge props to Tracy Thompson and her writing style and her writing skill in this book. It was really, really well done. And just to have Kevin's words just bring you from scene to scene, from action to action, from shot to shot. It was just so perfectly well done. I was very happy with this book. I will admit that I wasn't going to pick up this book to begin with. So the story about that was me and my buddy went to Intergalactic Con. I have talked about Intergalactic Con. Go check out Shep Talk, or my video on Shep Talk. Maybe I'll try to put that video right here. And me and him were both getting autographs at Kevin's table, because Kevin, you know, again, we were both getting our Star Wars posters because Kevin is an Ewok in Star Wars. And we were talking, and since there was really not a lot of crowds there, we got to talk a lot more than usual. And so we're trading stories back and forth. Kevin was really great. He's really open to sharing his story. And we got to hear about him. I found out that he was on Weird Science. He had a role in that. And I was like, man, I should have brought my Weird Science poster. And then he brought up his book. And my friend was like, oh, yeah, I definitely want to pick up your book and stuff like that. Because he was talking about it. Sounded really good. I was on the fence, and I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and pick up that book as well. And so I picked up that book, but you know, sometimes I feel like I don't have enough time, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this book, but I decided that I was going to make sure to give the time needed to read this book, because it really did sound really good when Kevin was talking about it. And I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you're a Star Wars fan, this should be a must read. This should be on your reading list, because it is such a good book. It is not that long. I think it was like 180 pages or something like that. And then one of the things I love is that we get photos in the back of this book. So you get to see some of the places. Yeah. So if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't read this book yet, highly recommend it. It's very easy to get into. It's very easy to read. It will only take you maybe a couple days depending on how fast you read. But guys, that is all I got today for my journey to Endor. Shep Talk gives my journey to Endor 5 Sheps out of 5. Let me know down in the comments below. Have you read this book already? What did you think about it? If not, are you going to read this book? Are you a Star Wars fan? Highly recommend checking it out. But guys, that is all I have time for today. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. But again, guys, I'll see you in the next review.